Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Funny Things That Happen to Real Estate Agents. Joining me tonight are John and Jennifer Leonard from Pennsylvania with a few stories to share. So let's get started. Okay, before I bring them on, I'm going to play just a little snippet of some of their marketing material. So just a second.
Hey everybody, it's Jennifer Leonard with the John and Jen Leonard team of Long and Foster, and I am here today with our phenomenal new listing, and this one will not last. Hello?
Oh, I just love it. This one is awesome. I'm ready to make an offer. Go over asking.
Over asking. Let's go right up the contract.
And here they are.
Hi,
Hello.
Sam.
I'm still just, for one, I'm amazed at the igloo that you built.
Well,
We didn't build it.
Oh, you did?
Our sons built the igloo,
Oh.
and do your kids do Snapchat?
Yes.
Okay, so I got that Snapchatted, and I was like, "Wow, this is so cool! We got to go see the igloo." And they're my adult children. They don't live here. They live close, but not here.
Yeah.
And our brains were like, "We gotta list this thing." I mean, it's a tight market.
So it's originally built for a child, but John somehow fit in there.
Oh my gosh!
Sucked it all in.
He fit just fine.
All
So
right.
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. So tell me a little bit about your background. So you both worked for separate real estate brokerages in the beginning.
We did. I worked for Century 21 and
Out of where?
out of Westchester, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And you go.
Well, and I was with Long and Foster, and Long and Foster acquired the group of franchises that Jen worked for. So
Mhm.
we had two offices a couple of miles apart, and you don't need two of that. So
Nope.
the offices merged,
The
and we met
offices
that way.
merged.
And
And we just
Life took
became,
its course.
we just started working together, and everybody in an office, you sort of need someone to cover for you. You know, when you go on vacation, he was my cover guy.
So you can go have fun. That's great.
He'll go he'll show anywhere.
Yeah.
You know? So that's sort of how then that happened. Yeah.
Yep.
So you've been married for 2 years? Is that what you
2
said?
years. Yep.
Okay.
2
So,
years.
and did I see somewhere you use the slogan like spouses that sell houses?
houses selling
Also
houses.
selling houses.
I love that.
Stolen from another nearby
Totally
agent.
not
also,
ours.
That's probably not that original either,
No,
but
not a
we still like it.
Yeah.
It works. It's cute.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tonight you have a couple stories to share.
Oh yeah.
Let's start with you, Jen, with showing the wrong house.
Oh wait, yeah, showing the wrong house. Okay. So I was working with a young buyer who we're sort of new in our relationship. So we're just kind of getting to know each other. And I had a whole bunch of homes to show them, this whole itinerary. And we show up at the first appointment. And my buyer actually comes over to me and she goes, "Jen, I just have to apologize in advance because my father is coming and he is beyond obnoxious, rude, loud, and I'm just so sorry. Try to, not have him come with us." I can deal with an obnoxious parent because I am one, so it's good, right? We're fine. All right, so he pulls up, gets out of the car, doesn't even say hi to me. He takes his little survey of the street and he's like, "You know what? We can just skip this one. I really want to go see this third one down on the list. That's the one I'm interested in." And my buyer's like, "See, I told you." And I'm like, "Okay, we're good. We'll be fine." I said, "Sir, these are appointments. I just can't show up an hour in advance to the next people.
Right.
That's all right." I said, "Let's just go in." All right. So now this is pre-COVID. So we have me and two buyers, two sets of parents. It's the whole family thing. We go up to the house, and there's the lock box. I go in, and we all go into the kitchen, which is what it opened into. And there's a lady sitting in the kitchen, minding her own business. And she's like, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Oh, hi, I'm Jen, and I'm here for your 12 o'clock. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm not selling my house. Like, what do you mean you're not? My phone says noon. She's like, oh my gosh, this happens all the time. Like all the time. Like, what do you mean people walk into your home all the time? She's like, my neighbor's for sale. I'm like, but you got lockbox on your door. Like who has lockboxes on their door if you don't want to be on the market, right?
Right.
And she's like, oh, I was on the market like 3 weeks ago, but my realtor hasn't taken it off yet. So I said, wow. Well, I am so sorry. So this is not for sale then, just to confirm. She's like, nope. I'm like, no. And then of course the dad, the obnoxious dad's like, great. So I did wind up selling this young couple a home, I don't know, a few months later, but the dad luckily did not come back with us.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I always love all those all those extra opinions that you get when
it's crazy
because they all know. They all know.
Yeah, they all know. Oh yeah, So he was convinced. So, but that's okay.
Yeah. All right. So John, you also have the story of showing up to the wrong home.
Yes, but in this case, we attempted to list the wrong property.
List the wrong property.
We'd sent our just sold cards out, and old school does work. And got a response. We set the appointment, and a couple days in the future, and wanted to do a nice professional job, get a look at the house, take a picture. So our marketing stuff was fine, and it's right on the way to and from the office. So I kind of do a drive-by, roll the window down, and the way the mailboxes were set, basically I just screwed it up at the end of the day. But a couple of days later, we go to the appointment. Jen and I are walking up the driveway, and she kind of says to me, I don't think we have the right house.
We're at the right house.
And I'm like, of course we are. Of course we are.
I'm not feeling this at all.
And why not?
I'm not feeling it because like their last name began
with whatever.
I'll say a T.
Yeah.
And there is a big wrought iron like S or Z or one of that on big as can be on the chimney. And I'm like, so if we're going to go see the Smiths, why is the Z on the chimney? Like who leaves that?
That was probably a former owner. So we're ringing the bell, ringing the bell.
No one's answering.
And Jen's kind of getting embarrassed, and I'm sort of mildly irritated that they blew us off for the appointment. So finally we leave. We're walking down the walk to the driveway, and this guy comes walking across from next door, and he says, "Oh, I think you mean here. It's with me." So everything can happen.
Yeah.
Even when you try to do your homework.
Yeah. He did his homework. He did everything you're supposed to do on an appointment. Everything. Do the homework. And I'm like, oh, I said, I was like, great, because you know how it is. It's so hard to get a listing, and you really want to be perfect.
Right.
And
you don't get one shot.
You get one shot, and showing up at the wrong house does not set a good first impression.
With the wrong pictures.
With the wrong pictures.
But it was good enough.
We actually had that. You actually did bring that in. And then we quickly let's cover that page.
Not this page.
Your house.
Well, I'm sure you had the specs of the home, like how many bedroom and stuff. The information you had was correct, just not the pictures.
That pretty cover page, where you have
with a beautiful shot of the seller's home, looking all dazzling with the light just right behind it.
That got ripped, put to the side.
But the good news is we did get the listing, so all that homework did actually have some value and some payoff.
Yeah,
and he said even at the time that the person next door whose door we were knocking upon is an old lady, deaf, etc. So we remain hopeful. Maybe one day we'll get her listing.
I want to know if that pays off and she calls you.
We have to go back. We should.
Really?
I know. So that's something to do.
You got to keep that in your marketing. Just keep
there. You go. Right.
Yeah. It looks like your daughter signed on to tell you hi.
Oh yes, hi Amanda. or one fan. No,
Okay. No, you have more than one fan.
I'm just teasing.
So tell me about, Jen, the time
Oh,
when you were leaving a listing appointment.
okay. This is probably one of my favorites. So I was, I don't know, probably about four years into the business, and computers were not really part of a listing presentation yet, and people wanted that face-to-face conversation. So it was a floor call. See, who does floor calls anymore, right? And I go over to my appointment, and I prepared so hard for this. Like, I felt like I connected with these people, and I was also taught, and this is, when you are going to an appointment, already have the thank you card written.
Oh, that's
That way. Yeah, isn't that great? So I would always have my thank you cards pre-written, and as I was leaving the house, I would just drop it in the mailbox up the street, and like, wow, because makes a good impression. Okay, so it was a terrific presentation. I felt so good. I'm like, I got this. I nailed this presentation, and I'm getting this listing, and I was so excited. I mean, really excited.
You nailed it all right.
Oh, I did nail it. Wait till you find out how. So I'm leaving the home, and it was a February evening, such like tonight, where we had snow on the ground, but the temperatures were rising a little. So all that mist is just coming off the snow, and you can't see a darn thing. And living in the rural country, there's not even a street light. So it's black. And cars back then didn't even have backup cameras. I mean, you got nothing, right? You had to know how to back up your car. So I get in reverse, and I pull out, and I hear thud. I'm like, oh dear God, please let that be the ornamental rock in the front yard. Or please let that be the basketball court. Just anything but what I think it is. So I get out of my car. Sure enough, I hit the seller's car. Bang in the side panel of the car. Pretty obvious. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, man, this is going to cost me some money. There went that commission that I didn't even get yet. So, and I'm thinking at this point, that thank you card means nothing. I mean,
Right.
I don't even want to say that.
Unless you slip a check in it.
I'm so sorry, hit your card. But thank you so much for having me. Anyway, he was so nice, and he's like, look, it's okay. It happens. I'm like, look, I'm going to pay for every penny, so do not worry. So yeah, he took it up the next day. Such a nice guy.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And I did sell their home, a few months later.
That's
Yeah.
good, though. I mean, it could have totally went the
Oh,
other way.
it could have been horrible.
Yeah,
You know?
really bad. So I'm glad that worked out.
So my lesson on that is never park in someone's driveway ever again. Park on the street.
That's a good idea.
That's my new,
Only I fall in the winter, so it's better that I park closer to the door.
closer to.
I'm saving them the hassle of their homeowner's insurance.
There you go. Oh my
I'm doing
God.
them a favor by parking in their driveway. Great.
All right. So, John,
Is this another one of your fans too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Hi,
yes.
Joanne. That's my girlfriend.
All right, so John, you have a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, sometimes occupants of a house have the wrong house too. I had a past client selling a home they'd bought decades ago in Philadelphia, and as Jen said, I'll go anywhere.
Right.
Mhm.
And so not a good neighborhood, not a bad neighborhood, just a workaday neighborhood. And there to change the locks one Saturday with a locksmith and have some other work done on it before we list it. And I'm hearing noises upstairs. I'm like, what's going on? I go upstairs. There's a family of 4 living in the closet. Hello. I mean, you handle things as best you can when you're hit with the unexpected that way. I guess it's fortunate that my partner in crime, the locksmith, was a pretty good sized dude, but it wasn't that kind of situation anyway.
Right.
But if it had just been me, who knows? I'm a little guy, but and the people couldn't have been nicer or more gracious. I mean, they really were down on their luck. They
Wow.
had family up the street. They knew the house was vacant. I kind of discovered later they slipped the basement door lock, where this style of row home is very common in our area, but
Yeah.
that's how they got in, and they didn't do any damage to the place. They were
Right.
only there for one night,
Wow.
and that was it.
That
but
was it. Must have been a walk-in closet. That's, big family. I mean,
And that's what I'm thinking. You have 4 people in there. That's pretty good.
but strange things happen, and I've seen far worse. I'm sure have many folks watching, but
Yeah.
not good for family television.
exactly.
I have to say that's one thing this profession has taught me, is that you have to be really good on your feet, like really
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
with it, to cover whatever you might come
Whatever
in.
you're going to walk into.
I mean, because we all have that horror story about walking in on somebody in
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I happened to get chased out by a couple college guys who thought I was there to rob the place.
Wow.
And that was after I announced myself several times.
They thought you were going to rob them?
Well, they come running out of there. Well, I had a buyer with me.
Oh.
Yeah. Apparently they didn't know we were showing, but I had yelled several times.
Oh,
But
my
yeah.
goodness. I know. You just
I thought you were going to bust them for their stash. The robbery was just a
They were
cover.
in bed. This is actually a funny story. I'll
Oh,
tell
they
you.
were in bed.
We were in bed. It was a college rental property that I was showing to a young buyer, you know, and
Mhm.
we had scheduled 48 hours in advance just because I knew it was tenant occupied. And I showed them the whole downstairs main level.
Mhm.
And it was like so dark in there that we were having trouble finding the lights. And like I said, I announced myself several times. And this was a duplex, so I couldn't tell. I could hear noise, but I didn't know where it was coming from because it didn't sound like it was like right where I was, right? So there was one more door off the main floor that we hadn't been to yet. And my buyer's like, "Oh, what's in here?" And I said, "I don't know. Why don't you open that up and we'll see." And kind of opened it quick, shut it. And I'm like, "Ooh, what's in there?" You know, and he's like, "A man in the bed." He's like, "What do we do?" And I'm like, "Run." We're like running out of the house. And of course, this was an old style lockbox on there that I could not get shut for the life of me. It took me like, I'm not even kidding. It was like 3 to 5 minutes of me trying to get the key to stay in there.
Yeah.
And so we were just crossing the street to get into our cars, and 3 guys come running out the door like, "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" I'm like, "I thought I was showing the house."
I'm just showing. Help. I'm just a little realtor. Stop.
And then he's like, "Oh, sorry, they didn't tell us you were coming." I'm like, "That's all right. I'll reschedule."
Nope. No worries.
Yeah. And I just asked my buyer, I'm like, "Did you see enough of that one?" He goes, "I saw enough." I'm like,
We're
"Okay, good.
We're good.
I don't want to go back."
No, go back.
Yeah.
And if we had, like, I don't know, a quarter for everybody that says, "Oh, it must be so much fun showing homes. I would love to be a realtor to
They've
show
never
all
sold a
these."
rental then.
But you know, a lot of this is fun.
No,
You
it
know,
is.
It really
It
is. I
is.
mean, there's a story we don't have time for. I wish I'd thought of, but it was a grow house, literally. But
And family TV, remember?
I understand.
Okay.
That. It was a grow house.
I'm gonna have to
There
tell
were tenants. They'd moved on, and the long and short of it is, we're in there, and their eviction notice, because they had not filled the oil as the lease demanded, was the cause of their eviction. And it was just like, I hope these people are chemically neutered, because if you're that stupid, you have more than 70 pots full, growing 70
They lost
3-gallon pails with dope plants in it that you're growing in this house, and you're evicted because you didn't pay a $300 oil bill. You're just you're allowed to refuse. You
right. They
just
shouldn't be in business.
Yeah.
So did you give those to the buyer for a closing gift?
I got him a nice hand carved
Get
bowl.
one and you get one.
It's just wow.
You see?
Yeah.
It was my 4th month in the business.
Oh, that's early.
Really?
I would have cried. I really
It
would.
was hysterical.
Oh, I'm sure you, but you know
Yeah,
me.
I would have died
I
laughing.
don't like I don't like anything like that. I'm not supposed to be seeing.
But I mean, we had the Stadies there, we had a local justice of the peace. A lot. I mean, it was, and I only was going there in the first place to let the locksmith in as a favor for my broker.
Oh my God! And I didn't want to get involved in all this. Wow.
That's great.
Oh,
All right, well, we're gonna have to wrap it up now.
Yep.
So I'm gonna pop you guys out, but thank you so much for
It
joining.
was such a pleasure.
Nice.
Okay, that's it for this week. Weren't they great? I enjoyed it. They have a ton of stories. I'm sure they have a ton more because being in the business gives you tons to talk about for years, right? So if you're a realtor and you have a funny story that you would like to share, please send an email to funnythingsre@gmail.com. And we'll see you again next week at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Talk to you soon.